Hello, my name's Kingsley Singleton and welcome to this video lesson from Digital Photo, the UK's best-selling photography and imaging magazine. On this month's CD, you'll find 50 fantastic photo border effects to use with your images. Each one is brand new and created by the Digital Photo team, but the best thing is how easy they are to use and how much they can transform your pictures, turning a regular shot into something much more artistic and exciting. Every border is sized to A4 for easy printing, but they're so adaptable they can be resized and altered to accommodate virtually any image you want to use. You can even blend together multiple borders and use them at the same time, or if you want something a bit more moody, invert the border and use it like that. And all of these different options add up to the fact that there's a near infinite array of different border effects you can achieve from these 50 simple files. But enough of the hard sell, let's take a look at how it's all done. I'm just going to close down our finished image there and open up the photo we want to use. That's B17 Duxford.jpg, and the border we're going to apply, that's border number 34. Now, before we get started, it's important that you can see both of these images on screen at the same time. So if you're not seeing them, just come up to the window menu there and down to Images and pick Tile. That'll make all your open images appear on screen at the same time. And we can get started on the process of blending them together. Now, because we're using two portrait format images here, our photo and border are going to combine easily. But if you're using a landscape format photo, you'll first just need to come up to Image, down to Rotate, and pick 90 degrees left or right. And that'll swing the border around, making sure that the picture you're using fits in nicely without cropping any bits off. In this case though, as I said, we're absolutely fine, so I'll just press Ctrl and Z to undo that rotation. And then to combine the two shots into the same file so we can get on with blending them together, first just going to select the Move tool from the toolbox, then click on the photo itself, hold down Shift on the keyboard, and click and drag it into the border. Now whatever you do, don't release the mouse button before you take it out of the photo. Just wait until you get it into the border window there, and you'll see a little plus appear next to the cursor, and that means you can release the mouse button and it'll drop in. If you're getting the following error message, it simply means that you're not clicking and dragging the photo all the way out of its frame. Just make sure that you get that little plus sign when you're copying it over, and you should be fine. And once we've got our photo in there, we can say goodbye to the original picture. We don't need that anymore, so just close that down. And then bring your Layers palette up on screen just by coming up to Window and down to Layers, or pressing F7 on the keyboard. Now, in the Layers palette, you'll notice that we've got our background layer here, which is our photo frame, our border effect, and we've got layer 1, which is the photo that we've just added. And all we need to do to combine them is change the blending mode. You'll find that here. At the moment it's set to normal, but click on the downward facing arrow and a big long list spills out. In this case, we're just going to pick the option called Screen. And as soon as I do that, you'll see that the border is showing through. And that's it. It's as easy as it gets. And in seconds, you'll have ended up with a really nicely presented picture. Because in the vast majority of cases, you won't need to do anything else. In this case though, I'm going to show you a few minor tweaks to make sure the image is fitting in correctly, and also some creative blending effects, just like I mentioned earlier, so that you can have fun with your shots and show them off in new and exciting ways. And the first of these is just about making sure that all of the parts of the picture you want to be visible are visible. What you'll find is that because of the framing effect that we've used, you'd have lost a certain portion of the photo. This is easily rectified though. Just either hit Ctrl and T on the keyboard, or come up to Image, down to Transform and pick Free Transform. When you do that, you'll see a little bounding box appear around the active layer, that's layer 1, the photo layer, and then to just squeeze that a little bit more into the frame, I'm going to hold down the Shift key and drag on the corner handles, just resizing it within the aperture there and just showing off a little bit more of the subject. And if you want a slightly quicker way of doing that, just hold down Alt at the same time as you're holding Shift, click and drag those corner handles and you'll see that the image is resizing from the center. Just make sure that it's covering all those grey areas though, or you may get a nasty hard edge where the corner of the photo is just ever so slightly showing through the frame. When you're happy with the sizing, just click the tick up here in the options bar or hit return on the keyboard. So, what else can we do? Well, how about using two borders at the same time? We'll just open up a different one from the selection, then hold shift and using the move tool, click and drag it into our active document in the same way as before, and then just like with the photo layer, change its blending mode to screen. And now in the layers palette you'll see we've got three layers: our original background, the photo, and the new border that we've just inserted. And this is where it starts to get really interesting, because by using the free transform tool in the same way as before and some other filters, we can cook up loads of different creative effects. We can drop the opacity of the layer down to, say, around 50%, so the original background is a little more dominant. We can rotate the layer, we can resize it, we can pretty much do whatever we like. We can even use filter effects from the filter menu, like blur, to further enhance the different layers of border that we've added. Just come down to Gaussian blur there, and you'll see if I just bring the preview box over, we're just blurring that original border effect a little, giving it a little bit more of a kind of a smoky look, and further enhancing the effect. And if you don't like what you've got, just click and drag it into the dustbin at the top or the bottom of the layers palette. And finally, before we flatten the image, I'm just going to show you how to invert that border effect so the image is coming out of black. Once again, it's all done with blending modes, but first we just need to click on the background layer and then press Ctrl and I on the keyboard to invert the background. And there you'll see we lose our photo now, and it's just showing through some of the grey sections of the border because the blending mode that it's set to isn't working with the background. Click back on layer 1 though, select the blending mode called Multiply from the list, and just like that we've got a whole new effect. And I rather like the way that's looking, so I'm just going to come up to Layer, down to Flatten Image, the photo layer and the border layer collapse into a single background layer, and all that's left to do now is print it out, put it in a frame and hang it on the wall. So make sure you have a go at combining your own shots with one or more of this month's 50 free photo borders, and I'll see you next time.